This is the Black Powder Podcast, coming at you live and direct. Your salty tears season my life. It's the Black Powder Podcast. Hello. Hold on. I have to be on top of Tub. I always have to be on top of Tub. Tub, can you hear us?
Tub.
I want to apologize in advance for Tub. The super boomer moments will never cease. This is the Black Powder Podcast. I am one of your hosts tonight, Marcus Matthews, the only real libertarian with the boldest libertarian I know.
Maybe the oldest libertarian ever. Hold on now.
This is absolutely terrible. Double Tubs. Hold on.
This show. Oh, I was like, this is going to be the best episode ever.
How did we do that?
Yeah, because I was literally going blind in both eyes. Yeah. Normally, you can't hear us again?
That's Tub.
Now we have Black Tub. That's an upgrade.
What is going on here? What about now?
Hey, come back.
Go out. Come back.
Yeah,
bye. Come back.
Anyway, way to start the show here.
Yeah, it's weird. Every time he's here, this happens. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird gremlin. I call it the boomer gremlin, but
I think it's anyone else using Apple. Maybe we'll ask our guest if he's having audio problems. If he's
what's up, Sean? What's up, homeboy?
Apple. Let me. Tub, can you hear us now?
I can. I think Marcus keeps messing with stuff to make it look like I don't know what I'm doing.
No, I think it's your hearing aid batteries, and you wouldn't have to go.
You can hear the whistling sound. Dude, all right.
Nabbit, what happened?
Realistically, we just got my mother-in-law some because she stays with us, and so we just got her some. And every now and then, you can hear it in the next room over. And she's just sitting there watching TV.
Look, I don't have great hearing already, but working in a industrial maintenance facility, we got to wear ear protection. But halftime they're halfway in, whatever. You know what I mean? Hey, hearing test we got to take every year says I'm doing great, but the fact that I can't hear what anyone's saying at work tells me otherwise.
That means even better, to be honest with you. Exactly. Yeah, fine. Hey, get your hand out of the machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kids, got it. All right.
If anybody's watching on X, I'm not sure if the comments are working. What are you guys doing? Oh,
what?
I was looking at
who are you
X.
talking to?
Well, I'm looking at X because Marcus. Comments haven't been working.
Well,
is there a delay?
No,
because we did this like a half hour ago.
Yeah, there was a delay, and I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Oh, I was watching it." Yeah, but so if you can go to YouTube or Facebook, and because we got a great guest tonight, and I want you guys to be able to talk to him, ask him some questions. Aside from me, the last two guests that we had, they may be the future of the Libertarian Party. I like to consider myself the future of the Libertarian Party.
Well, you got to do something in the party.
You got to do something, yeah.
I'm doing something right now.
Right. Here's the thing. You're a has-been, but you never done anything. So I don't know how you pulled that off.
You're a never was been.
Yeah, you're a never was been. Never was.
I didn't sign up for this. I'm about to boot both of you guys off my damn podcast. The Black Powder Podcast, which is the only real libertarian podcast. And what we like to do here is talk libertarian stuff, but we also like to bring you libertarians. You have a question, Tub? We have a question.
I do. Could you briefly describe what a real libertarian is and why you are the only one?
Basically, I wake up every morning and I bring
shuffle off to your government job.
and I bring libertarianism to my job. I told somebody this week that, and I apologized after I said it, but I said I hate Democrats during a conversation.
Whoa.
And I originally had thought she was more on the conservative end because she said her kids went to this very conservative, yes, and went to this very conservative high school over here where I live, a Christian high school. And her face kind of changed, and I was like, you know what, that was a strong of a word, because I didn't let my kids say the word hate when they were little kids. I don't like that word. I think it has such a strong connotation to it that I didn't want my kids even contemplating saying after they piss each other off, I hate you, because that would have broke my heart. So I told them we don't use that word in my house. But I qualified that.
You never went full Clayton Bigsby and said if you got hate in your heart, let it out.
Yeah, and I already have 2 votes because I'm voting for myself, and my boy Sean's going to vote for me. But
for what? For mayor of your garage?
Probably.
HOA president.
So I want to introduce our guest, and I was made familiar, and this is thankfully my Instagram algorithm. Sometimes I click on the right things, and this was some libertarian stuff I clicked on, and I came across this guy. And I reached out to our producer, Joe Hanush, hardest working man in the Libertarian Party. I was like, hey, I have to talk to this dude. He has my interest. There's something, he has that magic that I possess. That spark. That libertarian spark.
I thought you were saying there was hope for him. Well, my next 50 minutes are shot.
All right. So, and he's down in the one of our former hosts is from the same area, Michael White, but he's down in the great state of Arkansas, and he goes by the name of Mr. Jeff Wadlin. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. Like I did backstage, I want to apologize in advance for Tub, because I run a. The government officially got rid of DEI and affirmative action and all that stuff.
And yet you still have a podcast.
I still felt the need to have at least we're still going to have special needs people have a place in our society. And so I wanted to make sure that people with special needs, short bus people, still had a platform where they could speak. And hence Tub.
That's mighty generous of you. Although I don't know, Tub, you and I might be about the same age.
Well, so you mean we're younger than Marcus?
Boomer?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because Marcus is the oldest one here.
Sunglasses on. He's hiding all of his gray hair.
Yeah, he's trying to hide it all. But Marcus, so I'm 52, and Marcus is older than me.
All right. I'm 55, so.
Oh, you win.
I'm the oldest one here. Doug, you got to stop calling people boomers.
But you're also the most mature here, so we'll give you.
Oh, by far. Oh, my goodness, yes.
Yeah, Jeff is pretty much holding up the podcast tonight. We want to thank him for that.
I'm going to sit here and lick the window in my phone and stuff until it's time to go.
I was going to say, with age comes wisdom, and I think it's great to have Jeff here on the podcast, so we have a little bit of that.
Way to reel us back in, Eric. Good job.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Eric.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start it off. We do this the same every episode with all of our guests. It's kind of a 3-part question. I'll ask all 3 here, and you can answer them and take as much time as you need. But what was your aha moment where you realized you were a libertarian? When did you decide to join the Libertarian Party, and when and why did you decide to run for office as a libertarian? Go ahead.
Oh, sure. So I don't think I really ever had an aha moment. I've been kind of a political centrist probably for most of my life. I've voted Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian. One of my first elections, Perot was in the race, and I voted for him. I'm just like a common sense guy. And so I think the idea of the government doing a few limited things efficiently and otherwise leaving you alone, makes sense to me. So no big aha moment. When I first got involved in the party, actually, was 2018. So I went to the not the national convention, but the state convention in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I was going to run against Steve Womack for U.S. House. But at the convention, there was another guy, Michael Kalagius, who's been a fixture in the Libertarian Party of Arkansas for quite some time. He's run for office in numerous cycles. Anyway, he was also running for that seat. So we had a little debate and he won and he ran for that seat. And I ended up running for Justice of the Peace in Benton County. And I lost that race. And then a couple of years later, I also ran for city council. Unfortunately, did not win that either. And that, of course, is a nonpartisan race. So I had to go around and collect my own signatures. And so I had an interest in running. I probably would have been happy running as an independent as well, but that would require me collecting thousands and thousands of signatures, which I wasn't really didn't have the resources to do. And so that's one nice thing about being involved in the Libertarian Party is they do all of that work, and then it makes the ballot access easier. And we can get into kind of where the Libertarian Party in Arkansas is with regard to ballot access a little bit later. And then, this time I just decided to run for U.S. Senate. Just, frustrated with the way the country is going. The right is going way further to the right and the left is going way further to the left. And I think there's just not a lot of common sense folks in the middle. More and more people are identifying as independent in Arkansas. It's north of 30%, probably closer to 40%. Still a lot of people are worried about the whole split ticket thing, and so aren't really committed to being courageous enough to vote for a third party, but we're trying to change that in this cycle. Just trying to bring some common sense.
Awesome. Now, before we get to the tub, I just want to make a point. You had mentioned Ross Perot, so that gives me full immunity from anybody getting mad at me saying "you people" at any point during the rest of this podcast, because that's where I got it from. For those who don't know.
I forgot about that.
I love that. But
well, Marcus says it in every episode, so
pretty much. So, but he said it. Now I gave a disclaimer. Now people can't get mad.
I need the context for
that's what I was just thinking, Eric. I was going to let him talk to see if he was going to get out of it. He's not getting out of it. And so in reality, where are you really going with this? Because you call us "you people" quite often.
Where I literally got that from Ross Perot. Because I've been a political student since I was a kid.
Did Ross Perot say that to?
They kind of look like me.
Did he mean?
So you're saying there are racial undertones to it? Is what you're saying?
I don't like giving racism a solid pass, but there's variables. Because Ross Perot was a Texan of. Yeah. Like early boomer origin. He was older than my dad.
Kind of.
No, he might have been the greatest generation actually, but it was just hilarious.
It sounds like a pass. This sounds like Eric. This sounds like a lot of words to say. Yes, he gets a pass.
Enough time has passed, and he's been rolling over in his grave at our political, because he was an independent. He cost George H.W. Bush the race, pretty much
allegedly.
Against Clinton. Well, there's no doubt about it.
Bubba was just better.
Ross Perot was on the debate stage. With Clinton and Bush. That's a huge accomplishment, and he torched them. People were like, "Man."
I was young still when that happened, and so, but I do remember my dad getting worked up about it. Like he was down for some Perot stuff.
Yeah,
and we were very much Democrat.
I think I might have been alive. Maybe
no, you weren't.
88.
Well, at least we had an Arkansan in the office there for a while.
Yeah, and
listen.
Okay. Yeah, it was 92.
I voted for Bubba twice. Okay, and I say this, and I will hold. Listen, I wouldn't mind having somebody with Bubba the way he was, his beliefs and his charisma. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody like that come and run again. I ain't gonna lie. I would vote for them again.
That probably would have been Ricky Harrington, who ran.
Last
he's
been
cycle.
On here.
Oh yeah, that guy. He's got a lot more charisma than I do, and he's got that deep James Earl Jones voice. Like that guy's he's oozing with charisma.
Yeah, we had him on when he was
fun to
running for
listen to.
something before Eric and Tubb. When Michael White used to be a co-host
Who?
on here.
Who
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
sound familiar?
Yeah, no, he's another
Doesn't sound-
Arkansan.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: if you listen to stuff now that Bubba was saying back then, and I sit here and I listen to it now, I go, yes. And maybe it's because everything in the country has shifted anyway. But like you look at me and you hear it, you go, that just makes. I'm not ashamed of the fact that I vote. That was when I first started voting. That was my first election to vote in. Was for Clinton in '92.
Minus his crime bill, he was great. Now, Tubb, before you get to this question, we have a comment. I want to make sure we put off. I never knew what libertarianism was, but my beliefs never aligned with the big two. Marcus opened my eyes.
No,
brought me home.
Who's the Marcus that they're referring
true
to?
Libertarian, so makes sense.
I am the only real libertarian.
I just want to know why Marcus is commenting from his ghost account on YouTube right now.
He's doing typing away.
He forgot
Good
he logged into
guys.
his burner account.
Yeah. All right, let's get enough about me for the moment. Let's get back to Jeff.
All
right, so am I hitting like 4 questions right in a row? Am I good to go?
You got the floor, Tubb.
Here I go. All right, let's start with this. So, Jeff, you had mentioned when Eric had asked you, hey, why are you doing it? And you said quickly and briefly, you said, except for a few functions that government does, I guess you kind of said properly, if you will. What would some of those functions be that you look at government and say, okay, they're in charge of that and they're doing it well?
Well, yeah. So a lot of the things that happen at the local level, roads, sewer, water, schools, police, fire, stuff like that. At the federal level, defense, and probably shouldn't be a lot more at the federal level. That's what I talk a lot about on the campaign trail is, why are we sending our tax dollars to DC only to fight to get them back? Like, oh, let's get a grant for that. Let's get hey, here's an idea. Let's don't send them there to begin with, and let's solve our problems locally in our cities, in our counties, in our states. Another thing I talk about is like where do we think the money comes from? It's our money, right? And so again, why are we taxing ourselves, sending it off to DC, and then fighting to get it back? I mean, Arkansans certainly don't want to fund projects that are going on in New Jersey or Florida or wherever, and I don't think we expect them to send money to us to fund our stuff. Then it's either.
I'm sorry. Isn't Arkansas a net negative? Don't they get more from the federal government than they put into the federal government? Isn't Arkansas one of those states?
I think we're about break even. It's been up and down. I'm sure there have been years when we're negative, but the most recent data I looked at, it's pretty close to break even.
So when you suggested that, yes, our federal should be in charge of military, what do you think? Because if you want to run for Senate, you're going to have some say in what happens with military and foreign policy, basically. So what would you say is the proper role of our military?
Yeah, I think our military, it should be the Department of Defense, like it used to be before it became the Department of War. Like the military is for us to defend the homeland. I mean, look, I'm fine with having allies. I'm fine with NATO and Article 5. I know that's not the most libertarian thing in the world. But yeah, I don't think we need to be the world police. I'm not sure we need to have a $1 trillion defense budget, especially now that things are going to less expensive equipment like drones and whatnot. Like I was listening to something the other day, Peter Zion. I don't know if you listen to that guy. He does like a short podcast every day on foreign affairs and whatnot. Anyway, the Ukrainians wanted to use Tomahawk missiles, and we told them no. So they started building their own Tomahawk missiles, basically. But the difference is their warhead is twice as big, and they're made out of fiberglass. So I'm sure they cost tens of thousands of dollars, not $1 or $2 million a pop. They're not made out of titanium, but the difference is they can make 3 a day, whereas we make like 1 a week. So I think we just need to, and there was another thing I saw the other day. There was a aerospace defense conference in Bentonville, actually. I think the Waltons put that on because they have a small airplane manufacturing company there in Bentonville now. Elon Musk, comes to town and whatnot. And Steve Womack was there, U.S. representative from Arkansas, talking about how we need to increase the defense budget to, to pursue all this new technology with drones and whatnot. And it's not exactly clear to me why, if we're pursuing this latest and greatest technology, that stuff is less expensive. So do we just add that to all the expensive systems we have, or can we actually do some substitution there and save some money?
Well,
Listen,
I just want to point out real quick, Tub, that what Ukraine has done with Russia should be the model of the current defense industry, period, point blank. Because they have held back this gigantic empire, the Russians, the largest army on earth aside from the Chinese, on a shoestring budget. And if they
our
could do
shoestring
that,
budget.
Yeah. Well, no, because Trump effectively cut them off the last 2 years. They haven't been getting. They've gotten stuff.
Yeah,
but
they have
effective battlefield weapons. They're producing it in apartments. Somebody's making the blades for the drones. Somebody's making the body. Somebody's making the arms. Everybody's doing all of these little things, and they have struck damn near to Siberia with the weapons that they've domestically developed. And it kind of makes a case for the libertarian point, where if you take people off welfare, I don't believe in like a cliff type of thing, incrementalism, but they learn to adapt and figure things out because they had to. You know what I mean? And I don't think we need to just throw people off a cliff and say you're on your own. By no means. I think welfare and stuff should be a bridge, not a highway. But it goes to show, when the mother of innovation is feeding you, you get well, so to speak.
Now, real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, the Ukrainian defense budget before the war was something like $6 billion a year. So it was less than 1% of the U.S. budget, and somehow, obviously, with our help and others, they're managing to hold off who used to be the second, strongest military on the planet, and who has nuclear weapons, by the way.
Yeah, it's funny how selective we are about who can and cannot have nuclear weapons. It all depends on what Israel tells us. It's all what Israel says we can do. Now, real quick, I do want to say this, Marcus. For a brief second there, you sounded very melanated. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, you said that right in there. You're like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I've said for years, I says, you know what? Let whatever countries want to fight each other, let them fight each other. We're going to sit back. We're going to mind our own business. And once they win it and settle it and whatever's going on, then come talk to us. Then we'll make allies, but we're not getting involved in y'all's war. Y'all figured that mess out. Once you're done, we'll play nice with you. We'll do whatever it is we have to do. We're good, but we're not getting involved in your messes. Now, to bring it back to Jeff into his run, okay? So I'm only going to say this the way that I can think of it, okay? And remember, I think it was the last time I was actually on. It's been a while since I've been on. We finished with why bother? Like, why bother with this? And so I'm going to ask you that question, Jeff. Why bother? Why bother running at a statewide office, knowing full well it's an uphill battle at best? So ultimately, when I say why bother, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's okay, like, what are you looking at? What is an accomplishment? What is a win, even if you don't win? And is the party a benefit for you or a hindrance for you?
All right. So a lot to that. Let me take it one step at a time. So first of all, this race is winnable, right? Obviously, I don't have as much funding. I don't have as much volunteers, but money buys advertising. It doesn't buy votes. And I'll be in both debates that are coming up in October. I'm not sure Cotton will show up in those debates, by the way. And what I tell people is, if this was a heads up race between me and Tom Cotton or me and Hallie Schaffner, the Democrat, I would win heads up against either one, because I would get, if Schaffner dropped out, I would get the Democratic vote plus all the people in the middle. And if Cotton dropped out, I would get the conservative vote, but plus a bunch of people in the middle. So then my question is, who's really splitting the vote? And so anyway, there's 2 months left in this campaign, and a lot can happen. And I think people are looking for an alternative, and people are frustrated with Cotton, left, right, and center. There's obviously the folks on the left. There's a bunch of independents. There's a bunch of libertarians. There's a bunch of center-right conservatives that are frustrated with him. And there's, I'm pulling in people to the right of Tom Cotton who are frustrated with him, on things like the SAVE Act. So I'm pulling in folks from all over the spectrum. And then, what was the second part of your question?
Oh, what do you consider a win? Like, if you say you don't win, what's a good win? And is the party for you a hindrance or a help?
Okay, yeah. So, just getting the message out there, and being in it to win it. That's why I'm in it. And if I don't win, that's fine. But that's I'm I'm running a serious campaign. I'm traveling all over the state. I'm running ads. So, I'm in it to win it for sure. But in terms of the party being a hindrance or not, that's actually a fantastic question. And I have this debate, you guys know libertarians. They love to debate each other, and they love to beat each other up. And so, my liberal friends think I'm too conservative. My conservative friends think I'm too liberal. And my libertarian friends think I'm not libertarian enough, which is fair. Which is
there
fair.
it is.
I am kind of a pragmatic centrist, but that's okay. I think that also kind of makes my point of, if we find the platform that everybody is 90% happy with, but also everybody is like 10% upset with, then I think we're in the right place. If you find a candidate where you're 100% happy with, well, then that means somebody else is like 0% happy with them. And so I think those solutions where we're all making a little bit of a compromise, it keeps us focused on the things that we all have in common, right? Which is we all just want to be healthy and wealthy. And so, and we all need good schools and good roads and affordable gas and groceries and stuff like that. But to your question about, is the Libertarian Party a help or a hindrance? I think the big aha moment for me on that one was when I went to the national convention in Michigan. And so there were a lot of breakout sessions, and I went to a lot of those that were talking about, hey, here's how you run, here's how you drum up volunteers, here's how you raise money. And I run into this guy who was working on the data part of the party. Like, they help Jorgensen and Oliver and those guys with, like LP or L2 data and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, by the way, I'm going to all these classes and stuff, but the infrastructure that any candidate needs is the same. You need a website, you need email, you need texting, you need a playbook, you need to figure out your communication strategy, you need to understand what organization, like what staff do you need, what volunteers do you need to understand like the phases of the campaign, like all this stuff is just pretty basic. And he's like, oh, you're talking about campaign in a box. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I didn't, that's a great name for it. He's like, well, we used to have a committee that was working on that. Let me put you in touch with the woman who runs that committee. So I talked to her, and she's like, oh yeah, we started working on that a couple of years ago, but it never really went anywhere. And so I'm like, okay, well, we're a third party, so there's not a lot of money, there's not a lot of volunteers, and there's no infrastructure. So what is the benefit of running with the Libertarian Party? And there's not a lot of libertarians, right? So you're not starting out of the gate with 1/3 to 2/3 of the electorate in your state backing you. Like, I know the Democrats in Arkansas are really excited about Hallie Schaffner, but the Democrats in Maine were really excited about Graham Plattner until he turned out to be a creep. Right now, I'm not saying that Hallie Schaffner is a creep like Graham Plattner. My point is, your base is going to be excited about you regardless of who you are.
Yeah.
And so then the question is, how does the Libertarian Party help, or does it hurt? And so since I'm not a purist, right? Like, the national organization has its platform. Our state, we have the Libertarian Party of Arkansas platform, which is a little different in some places. And so, when you start a conversation with somebody and you say, hey, I'm a libertarian, they have a bunch of assumptions, just like they do for Republicans and Democrats. And so then I have to explain, where I line up with the Libertarian Party and where I differ. Whereas if I was an independent, I could just say, well, here's what I believe in, and that's it. And who could really refute that, right? Because they don't have this libertarian, scorecard to line me up against. So anyway, all of that to say, it's somewhat helpful, but it is somewhat of a hindrance. And I think the answer there is that as a national party, we need to get more serious about the campaign in a box thing, and we do need to get more serious about volunteering and fundraising.
Who was the woman that they put you in contact with?
Name?
I forget her name actually now that you mention it, because I just had a very brief exchange with her.
You're
All right,
Gen
so you
X.
had mentioned.
Hold on.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Real quick. You're Gen X. Don't ever ask another Gen X person to remember somebody's name, because we all know at Gen X, you can tell me your name and 0.2 seconds.
Gone.
It
just
is
gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
So don't
I only have so much space for stuff, and I got to remember how to get back to my house from the church. So I might not remember a name.
Looking at the next question or something they want to find out about you, but we're going to take
and that's not a good characteristic for running for office, by the way. It's good to be able to remember names.
That is horrible. It's good to have a younger person.
Joe Biden got to be president with it.
Yeah. Somehow it can still work, and I'm pulling for you. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. Below I posted a link, jeffwadlin.nationalbuilder.com/donate. Now, you may not be in the great state of Arkansas, but you can help a libertarian get the message out at bare minimum, because we were asking Jeff about what it looks like if he doesn't win. We want to lay a foundation on rock and not sand. That's for you, Tub.
I get it. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, but we want to lay a foundation down. And even in defeat, libertarians got to understand something. It's percentages. It's getting those votes. So we put great people in the forefront like Jeff. We can get those votes. We can get those percentages, and we can start at least laying a more solid foundation so we can build that libertarian high rise in the sky of liberty, not of greed like the duopoly. But go to jeffwadlin.nationbuilder.com/donate. I'm going to put his website on here. It's a little bit simpler for you. jeffwadlin.com. Click on that donate button, $5, $10, $15, $20, $25. Whatever you could do, help a brother out in Arkansas. And Tub, I intentionally said brother with the A, not the hard R like you say, brother.
Right.
But
it's usually not brother. I use the hard R.
But you can don't just listen because I have a smooth voice like Jeff's boy Ricky Harrington, who was a guest on the show a while back. But you can help.
I think you were like throw mama from the train.
Nah, this is the Barry White libertarian hour over here. But help a brother out. I joke, but I'm not joking, because libertarians need to put their money where their means are. You can't just be based online. You have to be based coming out of your wallet, so we can get some based people into office, since they're kicking everybody out like Thomas Massey, like they did Justin Amash, a former guest on this show. But you guys need to do more than, and share this podcast. Share Jeff Wadlin's podcast so people can see what a libertarian looks like. So
I would just to add to what you're saying too, if people don't want to donate money, we are in a social media world, for better or worse. So also I would just ask folks, follow me on socials, X, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And like, comment, share. And then also, go into, if you see stuff in the media, go in there and tag me. If you want to get onto my competitors' social media, and tag me, that kind of stuff is super helpful as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Joe Hanush for reaching out to you, because I just assume Joe knows every single libertarian that there is for some reason, because he has everybody coming through here, and we've had some great people on this podcast, Jeff included in that group. So thank you, Joe Hanush, for all the work you do. We truly appreciate you. I think we're gonna pass the mic. Eric, Jeff, did you have a follow-up on that, or you need another question?
No, that was it.
All right, Eric.
Yeah, Jeff, this kind of came up in your intro, and I want to ask you about it, and it's kind of a piggyback on Tubbs' question, if the party is a helper or hindrance. But you mentioned about discussing Arkansas's ballot access. And I know in the past it's been a problem, and a lot of that was whenever Michael White was one of our co-hosts.
Don't know who that is.
That Arkansas kind of goes back and forth. They'll gain it, they'll lose it. It seems like every election cycle they really have to fight and gather the signatures to get back on the ballot. And I'll let you kind of discuss that. It seems like something that's very important to your race.
Yeah, absolutely. So every couple of years, since we're not an official recognized party, we have to collect, I think it's about 30,000 signatures to get back on the ballot. And the mega party in Arkansas, which, it's never good for either party to have total control. And in Arkansas, it happens to be the GOP. Every cycle, they change the laws to try to make it harder. They move the date back. They require more signatures. They require rules about, who's collecting the signatures, all this kind of stuff. They keep trying to change the rules. They change the rules. We sue them. They lose. They change the rules back. We collect the signatures. We get on the ballot. Then a year later, they change the rules. We sue them. We win. They change the rules back. We collect the signatures. We get on the ballot. Now, if we get 3% in either the presidential race or the governor's race, then we remain an officially recognized party into the next cycle. And we came close with that with Mark West in the governor's race several years ago. He got like 2.92 or 95 or 97 or something. But this year with Colt Shelby, he's polling at 7% now.
Wow.
And so I'm pretty sure we're going to get there this year. And he's got a really good shot. If you haven't had him on, by the way, he's a great guy. You definitely should have him on. So anyway, so if we hit
Joe!
that, if we hit that 3%, we'll be official. And then the other thing too is the ballot access doesn't just affect us; it affects a lot of other people that are trying to get their measures on the ballot. So in Arkansas, our state motto is "Reg not populus," which means the people rule. And the reason that's our state motto is because Arkansas is one of a few states, I think there's maybe 14 or so, where the citizens of the state can access the Constitution directly through these ballot measures. So for example, there's been a ballot measure to raise the minimum wage. There's been a ballot measure to legalize marijuana for medical uses. And the supermajority party doesn't like that, right? Because they want to control everything, and they want to set the rules, and they don't want Arkansans to have direct access to the ballot. So they always find these bureaucratic reasons to throw out the petitions that are being sent. Well, just recently the court overthrew that and kind of smacked them down pretty hard and gave them a scolding about all this ridiculous stuff they were doing. And by the way, most of those changes were written by Ken Hammer, who's a state senator, I believe, or state rep. Anyway, he is now running as the Republican for Secretary of State. And it's the Secretary of State's office in the state government that controls all this ballot access stuff. So they're running the guy who has written the most onerous laws restricting ballot access, which just all got shot down by the courts. That's the guy that they want running the voting system. So this is why we really need the libertarian in there, Michael Packo, Dr. Packo. He's the chair of the Libertarian Party of Arkansas. Fantastic guy, heart of gold, and just very eloquent, very much a standard bearer for the Libertarian Party. He was recognized with an award at the National Convention this year. Anyway, he is running for Secretary of State, and I love his tagline. His tagline is, "Elections are too important to be left to the Democrats or the Republicans." So to everybody listening out there, vote Libertarian for Secretary of State in Arkansas.
That's awesome. I need to ask you, because it's a big thing. One of my buddies texted me today an app you could download that will route you around flock cameras. Is Arkansas having that issue like the rest of the nation? Because I think it's such a threat to liberty, because it's a private company that doesn't have to follow the Constitution, and they can give that information to the government voluntarily, like you or I could. So it is a complete flanking maneuver on the Constitution, and the government is taking full advantage of that. Is that an issue in Arkansas right now?
Yeah, absolutely. We have some municipalities who have installed flock cameras. The good news is that just in the last month, probably half a dozen that I've seen, communities have reversed themselves, and the local government or the local police or the sheriff's department has decided to pull those out. So all of the this is democracy in action, right? People are speaking up and their voices are being heard, and a lot of those contracts are being canceled and those cameras are being pulled out. Now there still are some, there was I saw the other day somebody posted where the ones around Bentonville are, and oddly a lot of them are like in parks and stuff. They don't seem to be on like high traffic corridors, so that's a little suspicious. So yeah, we're having the same issues in Arkansas as anywhere else. In fact, I was down in DeQueen, Arkansas, in the southwest corner of the state the other day, and um, a constituent down there was asking me some questions about the Iran war and the debt and flock, and recorded a few videos. And so I'm going to post his video here shortly on social media talking about that.
All right. We have a question from King Rat 54. Says, Jeff Wadlin, is the media treating you fairly or not?
Yeah, it's been kind of a mixed bag, honestly. And part of that, I'll say, it's my responsibility to make sure I get treated fairly by the media. Like if I sit back and do nothing, then I might get nothing. But yeah, so so some media is treating me well, like 4029 News. They've had me on. Initially, they did not. The reporter had reached out to me, and I emailed her back and said, "Yeah, I'm happy to be on." And then she got on TV and said, Jeff Wadlin didn't respond, and I was like, "Yes, I did." And so she had the Democrat and Republican on, but I wasn't there. So anyway, and then I tried to reach out to the station again, no response. So I hopped in my car and drove down there, and went up in the elevator and left my phone number. And I was like, I am available. And so anyway, but it was, I don't know, spam box, who knows, whatever. So then she had me on, and now she's been consistent about that. A lot of newspaper articles and things like that I've been interviewed for. There are some outlets where I haven't gotten exposure, or they'll skip over me, but I just use that as an opportunity to follow up and say, hey, just don't forget this is a 3-party race. And then as I mentioned, the debates, there's 2 sets of debates coming up. I'll be in both of those. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I've got to do my part in that too. And at this point, I'm issuing press releases once a week as I travel all over the state. I'm visiting all 75 counties and all 185 towns that have 1,000 people or more. And so also as I'm driving around, I'll make a personal call to the media in each town to be like, hey, I'm on my way. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be at the courthouse. I'll be at the library. I'll be at this restaurant, wherever I'm going to be. If you want to come visit, we can talk. Like I talked to a reporter over breakfast in Mena, Arkansas the other day, a fantastic little town. The economy is pretty vibrant because they've got kind of a diversified economy there. But yeah, or I'll tell them, yeah, meet me where I'm going to be at, or if you want me to stop by before or after and chat and do an interview, I can do that. So yeah, it's you kind of you get out of it what you put into it, basically, I would say.
Awesome. Before I pass the mic to Tub for his multi-part question, I just want to say 4th largest economy in the world.
And
you mentioned 14 states that are where citizens have access to the Constitution. California is the only state that is a republic. Our official name is the California Republic. I just want to point that out to Tub.
The most communist republic that's ever existed.
I doubt it. I would give that to New York.
Listen, you guys are fighting for the bottom.
Well, yeah, I mean, somebody has to scrape it off because the next person doesn't want a dirty barrel. So, all right, Tub.
All right, so Jeff, you had mentioned about how if it was a head-on race, a one-on-one race, you'd have no issues here, but that's not your reality. So know that you're walking into this, and people tend to listen. We all know this is how we got to where we are. People are like, well, I'm so tired, my party this, my party that. But when the time comes, they stay inside a party. So with that, so the reality is most people are going to stay inside their own party. That's just so. How much can you pull with just libertarian votes? Like how many libertarians are up there in Arkansas? And then also, who are you finding that you're able to kind of steal votes from to kind of boost your numbers a little bit?
Sure. The libertarian numbers are pretty small in Arkansas, but I think it's on par with other states. So like I mentioned, I've worked with the folks that work with the L2 data, and I've seen some of the data from other states, and it's pretty similar. And and I've seen the data on the folks who donated to the presidential candidates in the Libertarian Party. So there's a handful of folks out there, but it's not, it's pretty small. And also, and right now, I'm polling like 3 or 4%, which is kind of typical for libertarians in this state. Colt's doing better at 7% because he has some notoriety from fighting with the governor about this prison that they were trying to build in his backyard and some other things. So that's been some nice traction for him. But and when you break down the polling about, because they crosstab that, right, to say, okay, well, where are the Democrats and Republicans voting, where are the independents voting, and the votes that I'm getting are people who have voted for a third party in previous elections, libertarians and independents mostly. So, and then, yeah, other than that, obviously I'm getting a lot of conservatives who are, center right and just are frustrated with how far right the party is going, and or just feel like, where the GOP is going is not small government. It's not America first. It's not anti-wars of aggression. It's not fiscal responsibility. So a lot of those folks who feel like Tom Cotton is not the conservative that they thought that they were getting, are coming to the Libertarian Party.
How is midterm turnouts for you guys usually?
Very bad. So Arkansas ranks very high on election security. We've had voter ID for a while and some other things, but we are near the bottom on turnout. So I forget the exact numbers, but I think less than half of eligible voters actually turn out to vote in any election. And so, like with everyone, it's certainly lower in the midterms.
All right, so let's say we have a Senator Wadlin. You get in there day one. What do you do? And when year one is over, what are you looking to accomplish?
Yeah, my primary focus would be on affordability and inflation. And so, that's the thing. I was actually talking to a guy today at dinner I bumped into, and he was one of these, conservatives who's super frustrated with cotton. And so I think he said he's going to vote for me. So that was encouraging. But what my competition and in a lot of races around the country, people are complaining about inflation, but they're not talking about what the solution is, right? And I'm like, well, I can tell you like where it's coming from and what the solution is. So the solution is to end the tariffs, end the war, Fed reform, so we stop printing money, and balanced budget amendment, so we stop borrowing money and going further into debt. All of those things are inflationary. And then, oh, by the way, what does the Fed do when there's inflation? They raise interest rates, which, it's not inflationary, but it makes everything more expensive. And so it's those 5 things that are killing us that need to be addressed.
Who are your allies? You show up in DC. Who are your allies? When you walk in, you go, okay, hey, listen, this is who I'm down.
They're all gone at that point. I'm just kidding. I guess
right.
Maybe Rand Paul is still in the building. Maybe.
Yeah. That's a question I get a lot, especially like in Facebook comments and stuff. People are like, who are you going to caucus with? And I say, I'm not going to caucus with either party. I'm going to caucus with Arkansans. I'm going to, I'm there for my constituents. And the thing I tell people is that, independents in Congress have the most power because everybody else, the Republicans and the Democrats, vote party line. And so their vote is very predictable. And so they have no leverage. Sometimes you get these independent minded folks who are still, in a party, and they can kind of be a swing vote. But an independent or a libertarian like me who has, no real party affiliation, because it's not like there's a libertarian party with power in DC, both parties are going to be coming to me like, hey, we're,
they're going to need you, right?
We're 49 to 50, like we need you, or we're 50-50, and the VP is going to be the tiebreaker here. And so that'll allow, an independent like me to wield a lot of power to get, a committee assignment, finance committee, preferably for me, um, or to, swing things in favor. And the other thing I tell people too is like, look, I'm going to vote for whatever is best for Arkansans and whatever is best for Americans, whether it's left, right, or center. I'll have the flexibility to do that.
All right, let me ask one more question, and I'll be all done because it goes to what he just said right there.
Yeah.
So what happened? We'll use flock cameras for our example. Okay, so you're sitting in DC, you're the guy now, and you clearly, because you're smart enough to know flock cameras are a bad idea. But let's say you're hearing a lot from people back at home that go, no, we like them. What do you do at that point when you go, no, dude, this is a bad idea, but your people who you represent, because it's not Wadlin's up there gets to be new king for Arkansas. You represent the people. So what do you do in the situations where the people you represent don't align with the way that you would want to vote for something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I really agree with the premise of the question. I don't know how, Arkansans, I think, are pretty typical Americans. And I think, what's good for Arkansas is going to be good for America 99% of the time. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really foresee that being an issue.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is that because here's what happens. You get a topic, whatever the issue is, you're going to have people who reach out and fuss and complain because that's what they do. But
Sure.
So what do you do when, because I don't think you can just dismiss this that easily, because there are going to be times when a certain group of people will keep reaching out to you. And there might be the Democrats, and so you're hearing from them, but you're not hearing from the other side. At what point do you then go, well, wait a minute, the ones I'm hearing from, guys, are telling me this is what I need to do?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've spent my whole career in business, and in business, at the end of the day, you have to make a decision, and you're not going to make everybody happy, and that's okay. And so part of one of the most important things is just listening. What people hate the most is when nobody listens to them. Like if you make a decision and you haven't listened to them, that's what infuriates them. If you listen to them and then you say, okay, I heard you, and here's why I'm making the decision I'm making, you're not going to like it because this is not what you want, but I heard you, and here's why I'm going this other direction. They might not be happy, but at least they understand, and at least they feel heard.
All right. So we have a question from King Rat 54. Jeff Wadlin, what is your business background?
Yeah, I've done a lot of things. So, I was pulling weeds and mowing grass before I was 14. When I got my work permit at 14, I was scooping ice cream and bussing dishes at the Swensons. And then once I could drive, I was working construction. I was a carpenter for a custom home builder in high school and college. And then I studied aerospace and mechanical engineering at the University of Virginia, went to work for Caterpillar and Power Systems, went back and got my MBA at Kellogg Business School at Northwestern. And then I started my own company. It was called NextPart. It was a venture funded thing back in the .com era. We were the world's largest, or the country's largest online junkyard for a few years. So we licensed the data of 1,000 salvage yards all over the country and put a website and a call center on top so body shops and insurance companies could find the used auto parts that they needed. So that was pretty fascinating. Then I went on to work at Capital One at their headquarters in McLean, Virginia, just outside of DC. And I did product strategy and marketing strategy and product innovation for them. Then I did my own consulting business for a while and moved to Arkansas and started working for Sam's Club. They hired me as a consultant to develop a new fuel pricing strategy for them. And then they hired me on full-time to run merchandise analytics in their decision sciences team. And then I moved over to work in membership and worked my way up and ended up running membership for the whole country, which was about a $2 billion P&L, and the whole life cycle of the member and all the aspects of membership. And then I left there in 2022 to start my own consulting business. And that's what I do now. And I've just ramped down my client load so I can run for office.
I'm glad we got to that at the end of the podcast because it sounds like you're almost as smart as me. And Eric and Tubb.
Wow. But I thought he did way better than that, Marcus.
And Eric and Tubb would have been intimidated by your intelligence because those are some lofty accomplishments. And,
I got an unpolitical related question then. A follow-up to that.
Eric, we're going to start wrapping up. So this is your last question.
Well, then I got a very loaded 17-part question here. But the unrelated to your race, like as far as your professional career, do you miss doing the engineering aerospace stuff? Are you glad you moved into the business side of things? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I do. I do like the business stuff more. I think when I was a kid, I liked math and science because everything was black and white.
Yeah.
But it's actually the more complicated problems are in the gray area, and also just like working with people and teams and building things that I love. When you like, that's so in business, you still get the solving complicated problems like when you're an engineer, and arguably they're more complicated just because everything's a little bit more nebulous, and there's you can't get down to the third decimal and put your answer in a box. So yeah, I really love working with people and building things and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
All right. The rest of my 17-part question, kind of a callback earlier to the party being a hindrance, but your campaign page and you mentioned a lot about common sense. Do you think right now libertarians and the Libertarian Party is struggling with just being a good common sense, regular, middle of the road individual, or verging on the outside wings of extremism, like you said? The right's going more right, the left's going more left. That should make it to where our libertarian tent can be bigger. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I tell people is that the Libertarian Party, it is a big tent, which not a lot of people in it, but it is a big tent.
We got a lot of space for everybody.
Exactly, yeah. So if you want to come in out of the rain, come in our tent. We got room. But there's people all over the spectrum, and I'm a little bit more pragmatic than some of the ones that are. Yeah, we're on the spectrum.
Spectrum.
That are a little.
That's the second time you mentioned spectrum tonight, and yep.
that are a little more pragmatic. But the other thing I tell too to like my libertarian purist friends, in Arkansas is. I don't necessarily disagree with the end point that you're trying to get to, but if you're trying to lift weights and bulk up, you're not going to go from 200 to 250 overnight. Or if you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to go from 250 to 200 overnight. If you're trying to drive to Orlando for vacation, you can't teleport there. And you get the point, right? If you want to build a house, it's going to take months or a year. The point is it's a journey, right? And to get to your destination, you have to take all of those steps to get there. You can't go, from here to here immediately. And oh, by the way, if you're trying to bring the electorate along and you start saying taxation is theft and anarcho-capitalism and blah, it's like, you just lose people. They think you're crazy, and they're not going to hop in the car with you to go on the road trip, right? Mm-hmm. So get them in the car by being incremental, and then while you're on the trip, you can say, you can start playing the alphabet game and looking out the window and convincing them of like, hey, doesn't this make sense? A little less government and more freedom, and let people live the way they want. And then and then by the time you get there, they're like, oh yeah, I get it now. I see where we're going. So anyway, to me, that's the metaphor of how we get to where we're going, bring people along.
Word.
All right, I'll end my questions here. That's it. I'm done. Great answer.
Oh, that is the last one. Okay,
that was the last one. I got more, but I don't want to take up the rest of the time.
Yeah,
Tub's got 1 minute. He's got to go.
This could easily have been an hour-and-a-half episode, but go ahead, Tub.
Oh, mine's gonna be real easy. In what way are you different than the other two? So if you're going out there and you're talking to somebody on the street and they're going, hey, dude, I got my party, I'm good. How do you win them over and say, hey, here's how I'm different than those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the middle. I'm a pragmatist, and I think I'm the best of both worlds. Like I just want to help people and solve problems. And I think on the things where it makes sense to be more conservative, I'm more conservative than Tom Cotton. I want a smaller government. I don't want endless foreign wars of aggression. I want a balanced budget. I don't want endless debt. I don't want us printing money. I want us to respect the Constitution, which is a particular weakness of his, particularly with regard to the Fourth Amendment and FISA 702 and the Freedom Act and these things. So, Arkansans want somebody who's conservative in the places where it really matters to be conservative, not just like hating your neighbor, running on fear and hate, trying to, inflame your base, with, fearing your neighbor and stuff like that, which is, again, which is more of the left leaning part of the libertarian, which is like, live your life your way, let your neighbor live their life their way. It just doesn't matter. You both probably like fishing and eating molasses cookies and gardening and knitting, or motorcycle racing, or whatever your hobbies are. We have all of that stuff in common. So let's focus on that 90% and not the 10% that is just like cultural differences anyway. And so that's what I tell people. I'm not interested in the culture wars.
All right, I have a very important follow-up then. Why molasses cookies? Is that a local thing? Because I'm saying of all the other cookies, I'm not thinking of molasses. All right.
Oh, come on, molasses cookies are the best cookies.
Is that a thing for you guys?
That's an Alabama thing too.
You put molasses in your put molasses in your baked beans, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't
know. Actually, I'm the wrong one to ask about that. I don't know.
All right, you're not from the South. You're not from the
South.
No,
I'm not.
Look,
I put molasses in my barbecue sauce.
See. Well, no, I can't. I grew up in North Carolina. I'm a vinegar guy on the barbecue.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
I grew up in Florida. I'm a mustard vinegar. That's South Carolina.
Okay, there you go. Okay, I can get behind that.
Yep.
Yeah, we got our last comment of the night till I get to my question. Jeff Wadlin is a common sense voice we need in Congress. Vote Jeff Wadlin for Senate, Arkansas, as I like to say it.
Arkansas.
So my final question to you tonight, and I'm going to make a grand assumption here. If I hopped in your pickup truck, what are we listening to? It's a two-part question. What are we listening to? And if I'm at your house and you're going to tell me you're going to play your favorite movie for me, what would that movie be? So pickup truck movie.
Oh, man.
Music movie.
I listen to all kinds of, I like rock, classic rock. I listen to a lot of reggae and bluegrass. So yeah, I don't know, even some EDM, and I don't know, man. My tastes vary. But
Nice.
definitely a lot of reggae and a lot of bluegrass.
Right. Who's your favorite reggae band? Is this the gotcha question?
No.
Who knew this was the hard one? Like,
it could be.
Really wish you hadn't asked that.
Steel Pulse, Dirty Heads.
Okay.
Sublime. Some ska in there. Slightly Stupid. Yeah.
You can come hang out in the fourth largest economy in the world out here, because those.
You say that like that's a good thing. Nobody's sitting in Arkansas going, "Hope I fit in with those Californians." Nobody's doing that.
Oh, we've aside from this, we've had our worst weather of the week. Yesterday it was like 106 with 70% humidity. We get this.
It's already started cooling off here.
Yeah, that's nuts. But what's the movie that we're watching?
I don't know. Probably like Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
Oh, brother, where art thou?
I am a man of troubled water.
It's constant sorrow. Get it right.
Should have ended this podcast 30 seconds ago.
Hey, I blame my favorite pizza port Ponto IPA for.
Are you doing a commercial? An unpaid commercial?
Kind
of. You let Gizmo Brewworks know I enjoyed the Mermaid and Margarita Sour.
Yes. Jeff, how can first your closing statement on one of Eric's best questions? He has Larry Sharp, and Larry Sharp snipped it and replayed it all over the place. What's your final elevator pitch to the voters of Arkansas, and how can the people get in contact with you or find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm just a mad dad. I'm in this because I want to make a difference, and I want people to be healthy and wealthy. And I'm focused on prosperity, responsibility, and liberty. And people can reach, they can find me on my website, jeffwadlin.com. I'm on Facebook, X, Instagram, all the socials. So yeah, track me down, give me a follow. Yeah, share and retweet, and I'll take all the help I can get.
All right, before we close out, I want to post this link one more time. We're just gonna go directly to your website, just in case those people that need visuals like boomers like Tub. It's
Eric and I are the youngest
jeffwadlin.com.
ones here.
Jeffwadlin.com.
I thought we established we're Gen
We did.
X, not boomers.
Marcus doesn't pay attention.
There's a large gap in between me and Tub.
I'm not a grandparent.
That makes no difference. We're on the second. We already covered this, Marcus. We already covered why I'm a grandparent and you're not. My kids were whores.
Great job raising them. You truly raised them to be libertarians, and I truly appreciate that.
Go exercise all your freedom. Thanks.
Tub, you're getting in trouble for that one.
I think it's a blessing. I got to be honest with you, because there's nothing more exciting than spoiling a child and giving them back to their parents.
For real.
That you're blood related to. And I've seen it. I've seen what my in-laws have done with my kids. And I'm going to torture the crap out of you because you made that bar so damn high for me. It's gonna be some serious payback, and on top of that,
and they have to make up for the slack because you didn't have a dad around.
Oh yeah, there you go with that. For the record, my dad was a Southern Baptist. My parents are from out. He was the deacon in the Southern Baptist Church.
No kidding.
And they're Southern from, Baptist.
But he went deep with it tonight.
They're from LA.
It wasn't just deacon.
Yeah, he's a Southern LA.
Yeah, Southern LA, which is Lower Alabama, from Mobile, Prichard County over there. So I understand the molasses reference that Jeff made earlier.
Molasses cookies, I can't get it.
We have them.
Or you can use grape jelly if you're out of molasses.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's what.
Actually, I know about that.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Like you put some grape jelly inside your barbecue sauce.
Post everyone in your comments.
You're getting a little European for me on that one.
Post your favorite cookie recipes in the comments.
Yeah, that's going to be the big takeaway of the night. Everybody's going to talk about their favorite cookies.
Yeah. All right. And also, the link is there again. It's jeffwadlin.nationbuilder.com/donate. 5, 10, 15, 20, $5 to get a text message out. So you guys need to understand, we're not asking you for your left kidney. We're asking you to kick in to the homie so we can get this business rolling with libertarians being at the forefront of the discussion, because once again, this is an opportunity like we had in 2024 when the Democrats ran that one person, and obviously the person that won. I want to say actually two things. Rest in peace to Dolly Parton.
I thought we were finishing. I know.
We are, but we forgot two important things. We want to say RIP to Dolly Parton, because for Generation X boys, she was the introduction to the female form. That's you cannot deny that.
I think I can.
No, you can't. Well, you may have been a little bit different.
I'm just happy you were looking at girls for a change.
Hey, that mountain music didn't make it up there to Connecticut.
And
that's true. She wasn't that big up there.
I want to say congratulations to America for getting a lake named after it today.
I know
the important stuff. we got
also.
I don't care about gas prices anymore. We got to Lake America.
I want to also say Tubbs finally a Jelly Roll fan because he dissed.
No. Actually, I didn't even hear what he said. I saw a thing right before we got on. I saw that something had happened with him and that. Well, we'll see.
All of a sudden, Tubbs a Jelly Roll fan. Anyway,
I'm gonna go find. What did he say? No, I'll go look. We got get this. Get us off of this.
Let's wrap this up.
I'll go take a look after we're done.
Are we going to put Jeff backstage and have closing comments, or are we just going to wrap it up?
I'm good, dude. I'm good.
All right.
Close. Why bother?
Thank you very much for showing up. Like I said, I'm so glad my algorithm came by you, because I think you're a breath of fresh air for the Libertarian Party. So thank you very much, Tub.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You want to say thank you, Tub?
Yeah.
Tub.
I'm agreeing with you.
Bye.
I don't think you do that very often. I'm like, yeah, all right.
Say bye, Tub. Yeah, hey, Jeff,
bye,
it's
Tub.
great meeting you. Good luck.
Yeah.
Seriously, I think you're a voice within the party that's needed.
a lot of common sense, a little bit more than that. Your resume is impressive. Please stay involved. Run this campaign these last 2 months as hard as you can, and let's see what we can get up there in Arkansas.
All right,
Or
appreciate
down there,
y'all.
over there.
Appreciate you. And as we always close out, I'm just going to let Tubb say this because we have never got on the rhythm page because, whatever. But Tubb, go ahead and close us out with our slogan that we made up, by the way.
Which one are we doing? Are we doing live free or we'll see how it goes.
Nah, you know the way it goes.
Live free or die.
Arato vato.